I talk a ton about the benefits of light and sunlight at all different times of the day, and my favorite tool for knowing when these key times of the day are is with the Circadian App. I'm Dani Hamilton, a holistic nutritionist and blood sugar specialist. First, you'll start by going to circadian.life to download the app on your iPhone or Android device. And once you download the app, then you want to go to the top of the screen and set your location. Now you'll want to head to the dashboard at the bottom of the screen, and this is where we can set alerts, notifications, or alarms for different times of the day. With the free version, you can set 3 alerts for free. I personally paid for this app for life because I use it every single day, all the time. If you choose to do the free version and can only set those 3 notifications, I would set it for sunrise, UVA rise, and UVB rise. More on this later. So if you decide to get the paid version, go to my dashboard and click on the light dark section. The first thing to toggle on is when daybreak is, and this is when you'll first be able to see the light of the sun. You can also have it tell you when to wake up at a consistent time during the day, because that consistency is really, really helpful for our sleep and circadian rhythms. But I naturally wake up sometime between daybreak and sunrise, so I don't set that alarm for myself. The next thing we want to look at is when the sun is rising. We really want to turn on this notification and make sure we're outside seeing sunrise as the very first light that we get in our eyes during the day. This is going to set our circadian rhythm and start off this whole cascade of hormones that's going to start to help to regulate our system, tell our body which genes to turn on and off, and it's so crucial, and it is probably the most important time of the day to be outside. One of the things it does is that it slowly turns on our cortisol. Most often, we're under these bright lights, we're opening our phone, we're flipping on lights, we're opening the fridge, and we get a giant burst of blue light in our eyes, and that gives us a really big burst of cortisol. We don't want a giant burst. Most of us have so much cortisol in the morning. We want it to gradually turn on, and we do that by seeing the sunrise. If you happen to wake up before sunrise, all you need to do is put on a pair of orange lens blue blocking glasses to block out all the blue light, because the very first light you want in your eyes, again, is that sunrise light. You have to make sure you're seeing this light through naked eyes, so that means no glasses, no contacts, and no windows. So if the weather does not permit, you can always open a window. Seeing through screens is totally fine. The next important time we want to be notified about is in the UVA and UVB section in the dashboard. So we want to toggle on UVA rise and UVB rise, because during that time, that window, it's about an hour and 45 minutes, this is when UVA light is present. I'm obsessed with this time of the day because when the UVA light hits your skin, it tells your body to make dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, endorphins, and T3 and T4, which are thyroid hormones. So it's amazing for your mood, for your focus, for your motivation, and for your metabolism. It's incredible all the benefits we can get during this time of the day. So I like to make sure I'm really prioritizing getting outside during this time of day. Often I go for a walk and make sure the sun is hitting as much of my skin as possible, especially my thyroid, so it can make those hormones. And this is going to be, again, between that UVA rise and UVB rise. UVB is the light that when it hits our skin, our body can start to synthesize vitamin D. Now, this is not available in certain latitudes at certain periods of the year. So if you are in a tropical or subtropical climate, you probably have UVB all times of the year and can make vitamin D at all times. However, the further you go away from the equator, the more likely you are to not have vitamin D at certain times of the year. For example, if you're up in Canada, you're probably not going to have UVB available for you in many months of the year, like in the winter. You might like to watch sunset. It's not as important as sunrise, but I've started to love watching sunset because I like to put away my screens and just be in nature and honestly be a little bit bored and just look around, get the light in my eyes, and feel gratitude. And this is a really great way to bookend my day, to stop that momentum and signal to my body that it's time to start to unwind, time to start to rest and repair and get ready for sleep. After sunset and after nightfall, we're going to want to start to block all the artificial light in our environment. This artificial light contains a lot of blue wavelengths of light, which signal to our body that it's daytime, to produce cortisol, to raise our blood sugar, and that is not what we want in the evening time. So blocking this artificial light by turning our screens red. In my house, I turn off all the white light bulbs. I make sure I only have orange and red light bulbs on, and I also put on my orange lens blue blocking glasses. So this is how we want to set up our day to be notified about the different light during the different times of day. And there's also some other things that we can turn on. With the sleep section, we can have it tell us when to wake up, when to turn our devices off, and when to go to bed. You can customize the when to turn your devices off. And this is something that I actually have an alarm set for because this is something I personally struggle with. Many of us feel a little addicted to our phones, and the EMFs that are coming out of our phones are actually like invisible light. So this can be really disruptive to sleep, the light coming out of the devices, the EMFs, and also just that idea that we're scrolling and we're seeing things that are causing emotions and cortisol releases. This is not helpful for sleep. If you struggle with it, you're not alone because I struggle with this too. I have an alarm set on the Circadian app to notify me when to put down my phone because sometimes that alarm can be helpful to disrupt the scroll. There's also a setting that you can turn on to notify you when to eat your different meals and when to start fasting. I notice that I tend to get hungry at the times that the app is suggesting, so I really like that. You don't have to eat along with these times, but they're really great and they're set up to be at the times where we're meant to be metabolizing our food and to be digesting. We're not meant to be metabolizing and digesting after the sun sets. So it's important to, as much as you can, eat before the sun goes down. And then you'll notice there's a fast start setting. So when you start fasting, this is only an option for the evening, and that's along with what I recommend. I only recommend fasting in the evening. I don't recommend skipping breakfast. This is just much better for our circadian rhythms, for our hormones, and for our blood sugar. So with exercise, you'll see a setting for peak cognition, and you might want to notice when it's recommending you work out. And there's going to be a time in the morning and in the afternoon that are supposed to be aligned with your peaks in energy and also your peak in body temperature in the afternoon. You don't have to exercise at these times, but I recommend that you don't exercise before your breakfast or too late at night. Honestly, anytime throughout the day, if you can get in exercise, as long as you're fueled properly and as long as it's not disrupting your sleep, it's going to be better than nothing. So aim for consistency here and try not to work out fasted in the morning, especially not at a gym under artificial lights before the sun comes up. So after you turn on all these notifications and alarms in your dashboard, you click on My Day on the bottom and you'll see a whole nice chronological list of all of the different times in your day that are going to be important and that you'll get notified. Do your best to stick to the schedule, and remember, perfection doesn't even exist. So just use this to try to get your rhythm synced because your body really, really thrives when it has this consistent schedule every single day. One question I often get asked is how long or what is the minimum amount of time that I need to stay outside in the morning? Unfortunately, there's no straight answer for this, but some of the things to consider are how sick are you? How dysregulated are your hormones? Is your sleep? Is your circadian rhythm? The more dysregulated you are, the more time your body is going to require to sort of reset these rhythms and to regulate. Some people ask me, okay, so if I stay out for 5 minutes during sunrise and 10 minutes during UVA, is that enough? And I like to kind of flip it on them and say, okay, so you spent 15 minutes outside, but you spent 23 hours and 45 minutes inside. I just like to show that comparison to just get people thinking, wow, I am really spending so much of my day inside. It's not that there is this minimum for everybody, but I really just like people to aim for getting outside as much as possible. A couple of minutes is going to be so much better than nothing, and our body, again, really thrives on consistency. So don't let perfection be the enemy of the good. Try to get outside and take breaks if you're spending long periods inside under artificial lights like I am right now. Just take breaks. Go outside, look at the sky. I like to keep a window cracked open if I can, if that's a possibility, to make sure I'm getting all those rays of light in there so my body continues to know what time it is, because these artificial lights from our phones, from devices, they're just confusing our body so it doesn't know what genes to turn on and off. It doesn't know what processes to run and which ones to put on the back burner. This is so important for regulating our circadian rhythm, which helps our entire health. I hope you found these tips helpful, and I strongly recommend investing in the Circadian app because it's so helpful to get all these notifications so you know what to do throughout your day. I have no affiliation with this app. I'm just a huge fan. If you're eager to learn more about light, circadian rhythms, and blood sugar and how you can optimize these things, I have added and incorporated all of these strategies and more into my Blood Sugar Mastery program. The next round of the program starts in May 2024, and I left the link to the waitlist in the show notes below. At that link, you'll also see where you can book a call with me if you want to learn more about the program, see if it's a good fit for you, and also to be eligible for extra bonuses and early enrollment. I hope to see you inside.